What's up, guys? Welcome to the stream. Happy Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? I don't know what day it is. It's Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everyone. All right. Today we are going to be doing some building because, as some of you may have seen, yesterday I vowed to finish my noise marines for the stream, and I actually got up this morning early at hold on one sec. Just turning my headphones on. There we go. I actually got up early this morning to finish them because I hadn't finished the bases or the varnishes last night, or some of the transfers. So I got up early. Didn't end up at the gym to do them. So I finished them this morning. I posted them on my Instagram. Make sure to take a look. Thanks, man. Yeah, actually, okay, so true story about the yellow. So normally yellow is like, everyone knows yellow is like a pain in the ass to paint, right? So normally what I would do in a case like that is I would airbrush it, and then I would airbrush it and then like paint it. Yeah, so I'd airbrush it normally. But I was like, no, I'm gonna not airbrush it. I'm gonna paint it by hand, because yellow is such a bitch to paint. So basically what I did was, hey, keep painting, thanks for a subscription, man. So basically what I did is I base coated it with like a light brown from Monument Hobbies, and then I started doing the layers of yellow, and like 3 layers of yellow in, I was like, this is such a fucking mistake. Why didn't I airbrush this? So I basically at that point gave up and airbrushed it. And I ended up having, because I was lazy, I ended up getting like yellow all over the model. So I had to go back and basically fix and clean up all the yellow, which was equally annoying, but they're done now. And those noise marines I never want to fucking see again. I literally varnished them this morning. I got home from work, and I put them immediately into my figure case so I don't have to see them. So what are we doing today, guys? Well, a few things. First, I have some rubrics. We're gonna build those, or some of them anyways. I'm gonna try to magnetize the weapons because I want to be able to switch this unit between flamers and other weapons, so we'll get to that shortly. I have some Exalted Sorcerer. This is the Exalted Sorcerer kit. I built one Exalted Sorcerer, or actually didn't even build an Exalted Sorcerer out of it. I basically just stole a few bits for my Infernal Master conversion, which I did a few weeks ago on stream. I stole a few backpacks, and I stole a head for this Exalted. So I have basically an Infernal Master here, another Exalted on foot, and then I converted this guy just as an Exalted on disc. So I kind of have like enough sorcerers. And then I'll actually, okay, hold on one sec. I'll be right back. Okay, so you're asking, well, Jim, how many more bloody sorcerers do you need? Well, this is what I have so far. So I'll show you guys. I'm just gonna take you guys through all my like current Thousand Sons-esque characters that I have. So I have an Armin. This was one of actually the very first models I painted in 8th edition 40k. It's probably the second model I painted. I have a Terminator, Sorcerer Terminator. This is the 30k Sorcerer Terminator. This is one of my favorite models, the Praetor. I have another Sorcerer on foot. This is actually all metal. This is the old 3rd edition, I think, all metal Chaos Space Marine Sorcerer. I just gave him arm and staff and then a different head. But this is like, this is actually the old Armin model, but I replaced his head. And I gave him a bolt pistol, I think, or maybe he always had that bolt pistol, I can't remember. But this is actually the old metal Armin that I turned into a character. I have another Terminator Sorcerer that I converted. This is basically out of the... I had a spare Terminator body from the plastic kit for Chaos Space Marine, so I converted this guy. He's more Chaos Space Marine, but you can use him as a 40k one. I have an Armin on foot from 30k as well, so that's like another foot sorcerer or exalted sorcerer on foot. And then I have this guy, which is actually an old Warhammer Fantasy model that I never got rid of, and I actually hand painted. And you guys can see that disc. This disc is actually made out of a flying base, so another flying base, and then some chains that I kind of glued on the bottom, and then some blades. And then I free-handed this pattern on there. So there's an eye there. I don't know if you guys can see that. See here. So there's an eye there that I free-handed, and then I free-handed all these runes. And I kind of did this kind of pattern on there. It's basically just a flying base with spikes on it. And then this is, I think, the old. I think it's a limited edition, or it's some sort of character from like Warhammer Fantasy. It's like an old Warhammer Fantasy sorcerer, but I'm just using him as a like a 40k exalted sorcerer. So these are all my existing characters that I have painted for my Thousand Sons, and on top of that I'm adding another foot sorcerer or exalted, another disc sorcerer. This is gonna be a more modern one. This guy's quite old, so this will kind of replace this guy. I have an Infernal Master here, and then I have so that's like, so between all this, I don't think I'll ever need like another sorcerer. Like, it's a lot of fucking characters. 2 sorcerers on foot, 2 Terminators, an Armin, a disc, 2 disc guys, another guy on foot. So I have quite a bit, so I don't think I need any more than that. So I'm just gonna put these away really quick. You know what? I'm just gonna put them over here. So I have quite a few characters already. So I don't really think I need more characters after this. And then obviously I have Demon Princes. I have like 9 Demon Princes. I think 4 of them are Thousand Sons. And I have Magnus obviously as well. So I have basically all I need. So what are we gonna build today? So I told you guys that we're gonna build the Scarab Occults. We're gonna chat and stuff. I have a Forgefiend here, lovely. I actually have 2 of these. One's still like both in shrink wrap. The other one I'm not gonna build today because I actually need this built and the Scarab, the Marines built for a game I'm playing tomorrow. So those are gonna be the priorities. I have a Helldrake here. Oh god, I don't really want to build this. I'm thinking I might actually try to use this head on the Forgefiend to make it more kind of Zinchian. So I'm gonna try to. The only reason I pulled this out is because I'm not gonna build it today, but I want to pull off the head and see if I can use it for my Forgefiend to make it kind of Zinchi. So it's kind of like Thousand Sunsy. But we'll see. And then I also have these guys. So you can see I just blew them off. This is the very first unit rubrics I ever painted. And I pulled them out because I wanted to kind of see what I had for kit, and then obviously arm the other kit accordingly. But I noticed when I pulled them out that none of them had transfers. And this was actually the very first kit. I actually did the gold spray method on these. You can see that it's gold spray. So I'm thinking I'm gonna repeat that. But I noticed that I have obviously like 1 Icon of Flame here and 1 Soul Reaper. So I think what I'm gonna do is take this kit here, right? I think what I'm gonna do with this kit is I'm going to make 1 Aspiring Champion like this. And then I'm also going to make 1 Soul Reaper guy. And then the rest will be Bolter guys. Sorry, Flamer or Bolter guys. Or, so that's kind of the plan right now. And I also have this bag of bits. This is basically the expiring, I didn't spray the bottoms gold. I think what happened is like when I spray them, I lean them like this. Sorry, you can't see that. I lean them like this so I can spray underneath and it gets gold on the bottom. I don't actually spray the bottoms gold. Because usually when I'm spraying, like I'll spray them up and then I'll kind of turn them over like this so I can make sure I get gold underneath and stuff. And that's why the bottoms are gold. But what I'm gonna do first, just to kind of finish these guys, is I'm gonna put on the Waterslide transfers really quick so these guys are up to date. And I'm gonna show you guys the method that I use that makes it super, super easy. and you guys are gonna be like, oh, I didn't realize Waterslide transfers were so easy. So here's my sheet of transfers. This is the Chaos Space Marine one. So I'm just gonna take out my 10,000 suns ones using my knife. Obviously, I'm doing some assembly. I put a brand new kit here. Sorry, brand new knife. Okay. Okay, so what I want for this, there's some tools you need. So I got my transfers here. It's kind of hard to see because of the glare. Is that better? Oh yeah, that's okay. Okay, we've got transfers. I'm gonna get a brush. I'm gonna use this like medium style brush. I have some decal set. Where is it? So this, guys, you would not believe it. This bottle of Microsol. So if you guys are wondering how quickly how like good of a value this is, this bottle of Microsol, I bought this in 2003, and I'm only this far through it because like I don't generally use a ton of transfers. And I bought this actually. Okay, so I'll tell you guys a funny story because obviously I'm gonna tell you guys stories. So when I used to work for Games Workshop in, I think, 2003, 2004, I worked for Games Workshop as a key timer, which is one of the positions there. And they had a arrangement with store staff because back then, you guys have to remember, Games Workshop still did Games Days, right? But for Games Day, I think they did a Canadian Games Day or a Baltimore Games Day at the time. I can't remember. But one of the things that they had issues with was having enough models and armies for Games Day. So they had this arrangement with store staff where basically they sent out this email. They're like, hey, we need like 10, 20, 30 armies painted for Games Day coming up in like 6 months. So if any of the store staff are willing to paint an army, right, for us for Games Day, we will send you an equivalent point army in whatever system you want. So for instance, you paint 2,000 points of 40k for them, and then you send them a 2,000 point list, and then they give you those models for free, right? So basically I was like, okay, how do I like do this in a way where I can take maximum advantage of it, right? Because obviously I think I was like 17 at the time, and I was like, I gotta like get a free army basically out of this, right? So I said to them, I emailed them, I was like, hey, I'll paint you guys a Crimson Fist army, 2,000 points. And it's gonna be like, so I wrote a list, and it was like really like lame. It was like 6 rhinos. And you gotta remember, this is like 3rd edition 40k. This is 3rd edition 40k. So like back then, like there wasn't obviously as many things as there are now. But I was like, I'm gonna paint, it'll be like 6 rhinos and like 6 squads of TAC Marines. And then like 3 characters, and that was like 2,000 points or something like that. It was something along those lines. Like it was a very basic army, just Marines, rhinos, and like 1 character, right? And so they sent me the kits. They're like, okay, no problem. They send me this army, Imperial Crimson Fist army. I gotta wait till the end of the story because this is where it gets good. And this army is like all plastic. I think it was just when the new Rhino kit had come out, which is current Rhino kit at the time. And then I painted it, and I did it like full on like army painter style. So I got dark blue spray paint. I spray painted the whole thing dark blue. I went and got like I was like, how do I do this army as like fucking easily as possible, right? Got the whole army, painted it, spray painted it dark blue. Did a dip, like a full on like army painter style dip in like blue wash. Dipped the entire army, right? Looked awful. Once that dried, I like basically like dry brushed the army, did the fists in red, and then I did Waterslide transfers on all of the shoulder pads. And that is when I bought this model. That is why I bought this bottle of Microsol, to do the Waterslide transfers on that Crimson Fist army across 60 Marines. And at the time, I actually didn't know how to use this properly, and it was like a fucking huge pain in the ass. But I'm gonna show you guys how to use it properly today. And anyway, so I painted this army. And it was like, guys, like at the time I was like a good painter, but I wasn't like an amazing painter. I'm still not an amazing painter. I'm a much better painter obviously now. But at the time I was like good enough painter to work at Games Workshop and to paint like their army level of painting. But I wasn't like painting at the level that I'm painting today, or I painted even like 5 years ago. So the army looked okay, but it was definitely not my standard. And so I sent it off to Games Workshop headquarters, and it used to be in Oakville, Ontario. And they, they get the army. They're like, okay, we got the army. You got to remember, this is Games Day. There's like 10, 20, 30 of these armies. They're mainly for like demo games and like people participating. So these armies just get beat up and probably just never get the scene light day. And they're like, okay, so now you write a 2,000 point list in whatever army, whatever system you want, and we'll send you that army and models. Okay. So what I wrote, this is the best thing. I was obviously a Chaos player, Chaos fantasy player. I wrote a Beastman army, which was an all Minotaur army and all Chariots army. So it was 22 Minotaurs and 8 Beastman Chariots. And you guys got to remember, at the time, Minotaurs were metal. They're individually sold in blisters for like, I think like $18, which today's prices honestly doesn't sound like a lot. But in 2003, an $18 blister was like, oh my God, that's fucking a lot of money, right? To get an $18 single model for $18, or no, they were like $18 or $22 or something crazy like that. And they were like, you get one per blister. And I wrote a Minotaur army. It was like 32 metal Minotaurs, Doom Bull, Minotaur Standard Bearer. These are the old metal Minotaurs. And then like 8 Beastman Chariots for like $50 at the time. And yeah, it was a fucking expensive blister, guys. So I sent them this list, and it was just like a filthy fucking list. Like, I actually ended up winning a bunch of events with it because it was like so disgusting. I'd run like blocks of 6 Minotaurs and then like all these Chariots, and it's just like, it was just absolutely disgusting. And I think the retail value of the army was something like $1,600, like all said and done. I think there's a few other things I threw in there, like 2 boxes of gores and stuff like that. So I ended up getting, basically for literally like maybe 20 hours of work, to paint this fucking Space Marine army, I ended up getting this like $1,600 metal Beastman army for free, which was really awesome. All right. Anyways, that's the story of this Microsol. So it has a lot of, every time I see this Microsol, I think of that fucking Beastman army because I'm like, I ended up actually winning my very first best painted with that army. I painted it, the entire army in like checker pattern, like a checkered pattern, like a green and blue checker pattern, and in non-metallic metal in 2003 when I was like 17 years old. Like that was how mental I was. I never did anything like that again because it was like fucking insane. But I actually won my very first best painted at the Calgary Grand Tournament in 2003, I think, with that army. And I ended up winning the Games Workshop staff tournament with that army as well because it was just so broken. All right, so now I've got way too much water here, but that's okay. So I'm just kind of getting this wet. Now these are the newer transfer sheets, which means like as soon as you get them slightly wet, the transfer should come up. Now the last thing I have is this guy. This is a makeup sponge. You can get a pack of these for like $6 or $7 on Amazon. Highly recommend you get these guys. They're really, really useful for all sorts of things, but I'm going to show you how nice they are for transfers. So first thing I'm going to do is take my Microsol. And I'm going to take just a little bit of Microsol on my brush. And I'm just going to paint it onto the shoulder pad that I want the transfer. Okay, just like that. So just painting it on the shoulder pad. I'll zoom in a bit. Okay, so paint it on the shoulder pad like this. Then I'm going to take my transfer, my brush. Okay, place it there. Make sure it's centered. Okay, so it's centered. You can see, guys, it's like not, you can see how it's like not flat, right? It's like kind of just sitting there. Don't worry about that right now, okay? We'll come back to that. I'm going to repeat this process really quickly for all the rest. So, little Microsol. Little transfer. Oh, shit. Come on. Oh, that one's backwards. Upside down, sorry. Okay, put that in place. Kind of repeat this process. And usually I'll do 5 at a time here just because of like, I don't want this like to get too ahead of myself. Little Microsol, put my transfer, and again, you can see here, it's like very, very like, it's not, it's like, it's very crooked. It's not even sticking down to the model. That's okay. Microsol. Transfer. Just put it where kind of essentially where you want it. This is the time to adjust it, guys. Okay. And then I'll do one more. And I'll kind of do these in 2 batches. So microsol, transfer. Okay, so then now that these are all adjusted, just like that, okay? So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to my microsol and I'm gonna paint on top with a little bit of microsol. So just like this. So brushing with microsol. Let's see here. Let's see, come on, focus. Okay, well, it's okay. Brush some microsol. Brush some microsol. I usually don't use the autofocus, guys, but since I'm kind of doing a bunch of stuff, I'm using it, but maybe I'll just shred it off. It's kind of annoying. Let's see here. Manual zoom. Okay. So microsol. All right, now while those, I put on microsol in those, while those are doing their thing, I'm actually gonna start the next little batch. So microsol here, grab a transfer. Because you want the microsol to give it a bit of time to soften the transfer. Microsol here. Come on, sometimes the transfers fold in on themselves, so. Also, I would recommend before you do this, you either gloss varnish the shoulder pad. So these models have already been varnished. And obviously they've been varnished like fucking 6 years ago when I painted them. So they don't really need another varnish, but if these are still like in the painting stage, I would recommend gloss varnishing the shoulder pads. That's just gonna help make sure that like the microsol doesn't take up any paint. And also like that there's a smooth surface for them to, the transfers to adhere to. So it's just, it's not necessary, but I just find it helps a little bit with the sticking. Okay, I don't know why, but that's only 9 of them. Where's that damn transfer sheet? Why would they only have 9 in that row? I guess 1,000 cents, that makes sense. Okay, let me get one more. Get in the water. All right, so while that's doing its thing, now I'm gonna go in with my sponge, okay? So I'm gonna go in with my sponge here. I'm gonna make sure my transfer is exactly where I want it. Like that. And then I'm gonna take my makeup sponge and I'm gonna push it like that. And I'm gonna press against that. Now, the nice thing about the sponge is it's gonna conform to the shape of the pad. And that's gonna push the transfer on the pad. So now look at the pad, look at the transfer. It's literally seamless. It's perfectly molded to the roundness of the pad. So same thing, take my sponge, push down. Okay. Again, look at that. Now, because the sponge kind of perfectly forms around it, it kind of compresses it perfectly to the roundness of the pad. So make sure it's in the right spot before you do this though. And this way, like, you don't have to kind of get in there with a brush. So just hold that there for a second. Perfect. So look at that transfer. It's perfect. Completely seamless. And this obviously works for any transfers. And then what you can do is you just kind of rub it with the sponge. And that'll take out any sort of wrinkles as well. Just like that. And sometimes I'll repeat this process where I'll hit the microsol again. So let's go here. Hold it there. Okay, right, now I'm gonna Microsol the top of these. So then, can put this one on. Little Microsol on top. Again, like literally one brush full does like half this whole unit. Like you barely use this stuff. It's like it's like a really good investment. Okay, so then I'm gonna do that. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back with my Microsol and I'm gonna do this again. So one more time, I'm gonna put Microsol on the top of these ones that I've already finished. Just a little bit. Just like that. That's gonna soften it some more. And then I'm gonna repeat that process one more time. And what that's gonna do is gonna really smooth it out. And then I just go in with a brush and I just kind of pull out any sort of air bubbles. Okay, so let's go into here. Hold that down. Okay, perfect. Every time. 100% of the time, every time. So that's why I'd really recommend getting one of these sponges. They're really, really helpful. I usually use a paper towel for this, but I found that it obviously doesn't conform to the curve of the shoulder pad as well, and it would stick off into the transfer. The sponge doesn't do that. So sometimes I even get a little water on the sponge. So it's a little wet. That way it won't stick at all to the transfer. Now, I would recommend, if you're doing the shoulder pads separate, or sorry, the backpacks, leave the backpacks off because it does make this a little bit easier. It's sometimes hard to reach, like this one's a little bit hard to reach with because of the backpack, but it's good. Okay, so now these ones are done. I'm gonna do that just one more time. And this time I'm really gonna kind of push it. Shit, backpack fell off. Great. That actually makes my life easier. So by kind of pushing it like this, it'll smooth it out, any kind of last bits. All right, so that's that. I'm actually gonna rip this backpack off for this. A little bit more Microsol on these ones. And that's it, guys. So like I just did that unit of 10. That was super, super seamless. Didn't take any effort, wasn't struggling, wasn't sitting there fucking fighting the creases. You know, it's just very, very simple. Just in and out. Guys, these guys' models I've used so little that they're fucking dusty. Can you believe it? I mean, who would have thought I would barely use rubric greens, except everyone, because they sucked for so long. Okay, so now all I'm gonna do, let's glue that backpack on. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna hit them with some matte varnish, and that whole unit on the shoulders, just to kind of seal it in fully, and then the unit's done. So that's simple for Waterslide transfers. Obviously, you can do this for anything. It's not necessarily for flat surfaces, like to use the sponge, but I mean, I wouldn't shy against it. Like, it's still helpful. And you can do this with any shape transfer as well. So on the banner on my Noise Marines, I don't know if you guys noticed, I had a kind of a bunch of really small writing. Those are actually Waterslide transfers that I used. And it was like a really weird shaped banner. So I got it really soft and then I pressed it in and it kind of fully conformed to the, and then you just use my sponge to clean up this water. Boom. And that's it. Easy peasy chicken squeezy. All right, let's get out of here. Okay, cool. So now all I'm gonna do is grab a little bit of matte varnish just on my shitty ass palette here. This little Villo matte varnish. 2 or 3 drops. And just straight from the bottle. Same with the same old brush. Paint over them. That's gonna really kind of that's gonna hide the lines and the shine. And you're gonna make it basically fit right into the rest of the model. Like it's painted on. That's it, guys. So that's Waterslide transfers 101. If you've been struggling with them, I would highly recommend that's how you do them for shoulder pads. So let me know what you guys are working on in the paint. Sorry, in the chat. All right, so these are gonna go aside, and let's build a Forgefiend. Also, let me know if you guys want to have any Q&A, want to chat about anything. Otherwise, I'm just gonna shoot the shit, talk nonsense. Just gonna turn on my air conditioner 1 sec. Alright, let's build a Forgefiend. Okay, so I'm gonna do something cool with my Forgefiend. Well, first, actually, let me grab the Helldrake head from this so I can put this kit away. Guys, want to know the story of why I have a Helldrake? I didn't actually buy this. Well, I bought it, but I didn't buy it recently. But basically, about 1.5 years ago, I was doing a conversion. I can't remember what it was for. I think it was for, and I needed a base. I think it was for a knight. I was building a knight, and I needed a base, like the base that comes with this. You'll notice there's no base in the box. And I was like, I go to the GW. I'm like, hey, I need a 120 mil by whatever base. And they're like, well, we don't have that. And I'm like, fuck, I really want this conversion. So I'm like, well, what do you have that? What models have that base? Is there any Chaos models that have that base? And they point to the Helldrake. And I'm like, fuck, I really don't want a Helldrake, or nor need a Helldrake. So basically, the guy was like, well, that's the only thing here, with that base. So I, like an idiot, bought the whole Helldrake, opened the thing, and then threw it in, took out the base, and then threw it into my closet, because that's what people do, like me, weirdos. So now I've had this Helldrake for 2 years almost, just sitting in my closet, me avoiding painting it, and now I'm painting it. Yeah, so Lonely Sandmar, good question. I am very dubious on those rumors, and I'll tell you why. Oh shit. First of all, look, do I believe that Chaos Space Marines will get some kits? Hopefully. Right? They said they're gonna get a banner year. What does that mean? There's definitely kits in the range that need the update. So for me, the priorities would be getting a solo Obliterator Mutilator kit. It would be also potentially getting a new Possess kit, because the Possess are horrible and ugly. Obviously, I want Cult Marines, Noise Marines, and Corn Berserkers. So I think those are kits that I'd like to see. And then, bikers, like Marines didn't get new bikers, so do we get new bikers? Who knows? And then I think the only other kits that obviously we need a standalone Venom Crawler kit, but that's model's already sculpted. But I'd like to see a standalone kit. So, oh yeah, guys, I'm gonna do a conversion on this, which I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do. So I used to have, let me pull it up on my phone. I used to have a one of these models that I used for Aegis 40 Fantasy, and basically I needed a hell cannon for my Chaos Warrior army, but I didn't. The old hell cannon was like not really available. Plus it was super ugly, so I decided to convert a Forgefiend into a hell cannon for my Chaos Space Marine army, and I'm gonna show you the conversion I did. But now that I'm actually building one for 30k, or sorry, for 40k, I'm gonna do the similar conversion because A, I think it looks way cooler, and B, it'll enable me, because I think this looks dumb. Like a monster with guns for arms and no actual arms, I think is dumb. So what I'm gonna do is convert this to look like my Warhammer Fantasy Forgefiend, which I will see if I can pull up. I actually took a picture of it earlier last year when I sold the army, so let me see where that is. And I'll show you guys, because I actually sold my Chaos army last year. My Fantasy army, unfortunately. But I did take a picture of this model. So let me see if I can find it. Where is she? Come on, baby. Aha! So, I don't know if you guys can see that. So basically, this is my Warhammer Fantasy Forgefiend. So I built it kind of like a Blastoise with the cannons on the shoulders. And what I'm gonna do is something similar for this. So this is my one I use the hell cannon. I'm gonna do that similar here. So it's gonna have its arms, its head, and then it's gonna have shoulder-mounted weapons instead of the traditional like arm-mounted weapons. I think it looks way cooler. And then I'll also magnetize it so I can switch out those weapons on the shoulders into either ectoplasm cannons or into the other ones. So I'm gonna be doing that conversion for this guy as well, and I'll kind of take you guys through it as well. But this was my old, I missed this model. It's my old, this is the scheme. I painted an entire fantasy army in this scheme. Yellow and fucking purple, man. If you want to hear about fucking mental schemes for armies, that was a lot of painting. And actually, I did a checkerboard pattern. I'll show you guys how insane some of the models I did was. So this was so everything had a checkerboard pattern. For instance, like this was my giant, right? Checkerboard. But I'll show you my like my Archaon here. I don't know if you guys can tell. Look at the armor. So that was the pattern I did for the armor. It was like this like alternating checkerboard pattern. That's my Archaon on foot. And that's my mounted Archaon. It was actually fucking insane to paint the army. Like it took me so long. But it was one of my favorite armies that I ever painted. Had just a lot of really cool models, really cool conversions. My buddy now owns the army, which is cool. It's found a good home. But yeah, it was just like crazy shit like that. This is actually a unit of Furies, Tzeentch Furies I converted. So I built those discs from scratch, hand painted all the eyes on them. They're from flying bases, and I mounted a bunch of horrors on them, and I used those as Tzeentch Chaos Furies. Anyways, I'm getting nostalgic here, so let's get back to building. I miss my old Chaos Army, but my good friend has it, which means if I ever want to see it again, I know where to go. Chaos transfer sheet, great. And also, I do want to do a base like the one I did. Actually, I don't know if I did that for this. Let me just see. Oh yeah, so this is quite a built-up base. This one's got quite a built-up base. So you can see here. Here's an alternate angle. So it's got quite a built-up base. So I'm gonna actually build that first really quickly. And it basically had the claw grabbing onto it. So I want a pretty like beefy base as well. So I'm gonna do that today. So let's start with the base, and I have a really cool piece of kit. So this is from the Magister Ammon kit from Forge World. It's basically a piece of like Thousand Suns ruins bits. I think it goes something like this. Let me see here. Something like that, right? And then Magister Ammon goes on it. So I think I'm gonna incorporate that as part of the base though, like something where it's like, let me zoom in here. So it's gonna be like, I can zoom in a bit more. So I want kind of like this piece like that, kind of holding it in the front, and then that'll be the piece that he's kind of grabbing onto. And then there'll be a bunch of rocks. So I'll show you guys. If you haven't seen my basing tutorial, I do have a video on my YouTube channel on how I do my bases, but you can just stay tuned now because I'm going to show you guys really quickly how I do them, because I'm just going to do one here. So 1 second. Okay, so I got a few things here. Let's see, I got the base, I got a piece of cork, I got this little, I just found this with my cork, so it's a piece of the Chaos Gate terrain piece, and then I got this little, these resin marble things, which will add to it. These are from Secret Weapons. They're like runic columns, broken ones. I don't know how to speak paper in there, but I'm gonna throw some of those on the base. So what I'm gonna do, and then what I need is this stuff here. This is Elmer's Pro Bond. This is kind of like I don't know, it's like a carpenter's something. I'm not exactly sure what it's made of, but it's like a wood filler. It drives super hard, it can sand it. So I'm gonna start with, get this little guy. I just have like this wood tool, okay? So let's get to it. So this is kind of how I plan them out. Let's see here. So first, I'm gonna put the pieces that I know I want where I want them. So like for instance, I want this piece up at the front there. So, but I don't want maybe some of all this. So maybe what I'll do is I will cut through that just to get it down to this like bit of rubble. So let me get my saw. Where's my hobby saw? Let me grab that one quick. Ow! Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so what I want is basically like from there below. Don't breathe resin dust, guys, even though I'm doing that right now. Probably wear a mask, but oh well. Probably gonna die young anyways. I have a Dremel, but I really don't want to pull it out. That would make this really easy to use the cutting wheel. And that's a lot of work for one thing. I could probably just use clippers to like break this off at some point, but that's not fun either. Okay, it's probably weak enough now that if I snap it. So I have these rhinoceros clippers. These I've had for fucking 20 years. They're called, I think they're called rhinoceros clippers. They're good for like clipping off big things. Nope, not quite. So I can get it off now. Nope. Damn resin. Ah. What are you guys working on? Let me know in chat. It's a brick. Yeah. Oh, I'm almost through. I see it. There we go. Boom. All right. So that can go in the garbage. Get rid of all this resin dust. Nice. Yeah, I actually think so. Like, so thinking about the Thousand Suns book, one of the big things is like lack of like high damage weaponry. So I really do think having I'm actually at first I was like, you know what, the Hades autocannon is much better than the ectoplasm cannon, but I'm starting to kind of change my mind a bit, because hear me out, the ectoplasm cannon is AP 3 damage, which means oh no. So I have this old bottle of glue. This is the glue. This is like my scrap glue. So once I start to get to the end of a super glue, I'll just dump it in this bottle. And I basically use this glue for turring rather than my new glue. And it's like kind of really dry and sticky. So I'm gonna go there with that. I'm just gonna spread a bunch out. So that's gonna stick there. Okay. And then I'm gonna grab some cork. And put a few pieces. And this way I don't end up using my like nice super glue on the stuff like this. And yeah, I'm using super glue, not white glue. So then I'm gonna take some few pieces like this and just kind of build a little I guess platform here around it. Don't worry about the look, guys. Trust me, it's gonna be better. And then I'm gonna take another piece here. Okay, it's gonna go like that. Okay, so I'm gonna leave that to dry for a sec. Take a few pieces like this, plug them in. Man, I have 30 Zangors painted, and I obviously have another 10 in the that I got in the start collecting, and they were like probably one of the most like painful models to paint. So whether I paint the other 10 will probably not happen, just because they're not great. I do think there's play though, so a lot of people are kind of writing off Zangors, and hear me out for a sec. So I think one of the problems with Thousand Suns is they don't have a lot of like, they don't have any chaff, right? Like they don't have things that can like, I think every army needs to have, in its way that you built it, some sacrificial things or some things that are cheap that you can afford to lose early, that you can kind of use to, you know, either be distraction carnifexes or just to get in your opponent's face early and cause all sorts of trouble. And that's where I think the Zangors do actually have like a place in Thousand Suns, because if you think about early game, you know, like you don't want to be screening out with rubrics. You don't want to be screening out deep strikers with rubrics, because you don't want to be running on that objective turn 1 with rubrics, because that's a 115 point unit. It's producing cabal points. It's like, it's very important for your like gameplay plan. But like that unit of rubrics is 115 points for 10 wounds, right? And with all the damage to weaponry, that could very easily die in like one shooting phase. Plus they only move 5, right? So they're not very fast, and you're already gonna have like 2 or 3 units. So for me, having like either 2 10-man units of Zangors in every list, just to be there for like say I'm playing a mirror match, right? I don't want their smites going directly into my rubrics. I want something to eat smites. Say they're playing an aggressive melee army, I want things that I can throw up into the lanes to stop them from getting to me, like move block. Say I'm playing maybe in some missions, they just become backfield action monkeys, right? But just having a unit like that just has a little bit of versatility. And here's the thing. Yes, they're not as resilient as Rubrics, but here's for 70 points, you get T4 and a 5+ save. That's actually quite resilient given their points cost. Like there's not a lot that has that level of resiliency. 2 attacks at strength 4 AP1. So for me, always over cultists, Rubrics are worth it. And then second, I just think that like having that like unit that you can maybe like advance turn 1 warp time up, right, with a cheeky warp time, and get on like an early objective and just force your opponent to kind of have to come to it. Yeah, okay, you're right. They are 6 inches now, but also they don't have a banner. Okay, all right. So now we're at this stage of the ugly base competition. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab my oh, that's the wrong one. This is my what it looks like. It's quite dry, so I'm just gonna throw a little bit of water in there with my and just mix it up. The other way that I think I would maybe use Rubrics is actually like a 20-man block and like throw them up. If you're playing, say, Duplicity, or even not Duplicity, say you're just playing normal, paint up, throw 20 up, like turn 1, that becomes your move, right? So you throw 20 up, you advance them, you warp time them, they get onto those middle objectives, maybe even 2 objectives with the size of the unit. You throw a Weaver on them, and you throw a Glamour on them, and then you kind of hide the rest of your stuff in waiting in like strategic spots. And now all of a sudden, you've got the mid board, you've got the middle objectives, your opponent has to deal with that block, they can't ignore it. Otherwise, you're gonna have primaries. And then as soon as they either shoot it or move into a place where they can fight it, that puts them in that kind of kill zone range of the rest of your army. So I do think there is a place for Xanagors. I know a lot of people are poo-pooing them. And you know, if you have a Shaman hitting on 3s, or even just using this stratagem to reroll hits, it's not that bad, you know? Okay, so now I'm gonna take my goop, you can see here, and I'm gonna fucking get a fuck ton like this. And I'm just gonna dump it on. And I'm just gonna use my paddle to kind of spread it out. So I do this for my small bases and my large bases, but I'm just showing you guys kind of how I do a large base. And I'm going to use this to kind of hide the cork, because I don't really want the cork showing, or I don't want it looking like cork. I want it looking more like rock. And I'm going to use it also to blend in the piece of resin in with the rock, right? So I'm kind of going around. Putting a little bit on the edges. I don't have to hide all the cork, but I just want it kind of blended into the base. And I want to hide the edges of the cork so it just doesn't look like cork. Plus what this does is when it dries really hard, it actually protects the cork from chipping. And it provides a hard surface for you to actually glue your model in. And you're not gluing it into like the cork, which is can tend to break off sometimes. So you can see I'm just kind of smoothing out that transition, making it look more rock-like, more dirt-like, more hill-like. Just like that. Yeah, and that's the other thing is you don't have a lot of board presence with just Rubrics. The Xanagors are good to help give you that board presence, to just create zones. Like if you're playing a Deep Strike army, you don't want to be throwing your Rubrics up to get slaughtered by their Deep Strikers. Like you want Xanagors to be their screening unit, you know? That's why I actually think the is it Cult of Prophecy that lets you move 6 inches can actually be really strong in Thousand Suns as well, because it gives you an ability to screen out a little bit better. Okay, so now I'm just using this to kind of blend in the kind of this piece of resin in with the kind of rock area. Whoa. And then if there's if there's too much, just like scrape it off. All right, just clean off the edges. You don't have to worry about the edges too much right now because once it's dry, you can kind of just sand it off. And that's it. That's kind of like our rocky little base for Forgefiend. That took me what, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes to build? And I'll actually do that for all my Marines as well. Build like a cool little rocky base like that. And then I just take my tool and I kind of just like press into it a little bit just to give it a bit of texture because I don't want it to be smooth. But this material, this wood filler, actually does have a bit of built-in texture. And then we're gonna put some sand on it. We're gonna put some static grass. By the time you're all said and done, you're gonna have like a nice little rocky base. So there's my base for my Forgefiend. Vanessa Miniatures, thanks, man. Or yeah, thanks, man. Everyone's a man. Cool. So that's my base for my Forgefiend. I'm gonna let that dry. That's gonna probably take a good 2 or 3 hours to dry. But then my Forgefiend can sit on top. He's got a nice little Thousand Sunsy piece of rubble in there. Also, I might like, say for instance, throw in here. I kind of forgot, but let's do it now. Like a piece of this like rubric, this stuff. So maybe I'll kind of throw that in there. Just kind of push it in. Another piece of kind of broken stone. Kind of fits in with the Thousand Suns theme. Just use my finger here because I'm lazy. Boom. We got a base. Easy as that, guys. And then once I put the sand on there, like everything's gonna kind of melt together. And it's gonna be nice and painted. So, okay, so that's gonna go aside. Let's put it up there. Wash my hands. Okay, let's actually build this model now. What's up, Hakon? Reclamation asks, I just got my 1,000 Sun Start collecting box and 2 sets of rubrics. And the new Hexfire box. Is there anything else I could need? Yeah, man, there's fuck ton you could need. That's like, that's not an army, but I would just start with what you have. I'd probably definitely pick up at least another, the Exalted Sorcerer box or an Armin. Yeah, and that's like, guys, that literally cost me, that base cost me, I mean, obviously I had that piece of resin and these little guys, but you don't even need to use those. You can just use big rocks or other kinds of bits or old, like, you know, I have this old piece of terrain sitting around, like from an old plastic kit. So you can use other things in there. You don't have to use like this nice resin columns. But that whole base cost me literally, the base plus this thing is $8.99, and I've done probably 120 bases with it. And a pack of 3 of these like cork things is like fucking $3. So really cheap way to make like nice rocky bases. And the thing is, like, we're doing a little bit more to it because sometimes people do the cork bases and it's like, it's just like cork glued onto the base with the model there. And it's like, okay, I see that you're standing on cork. Okay, let's build a Forgefiend. So, Hakon, I like that. Like, I don't think it's a bad choice. I actually ordered 2 of the Forge World, full disclosure, I ordered 2 of the Forge World robots, the like 1,000 Suns automatas. I'm gonna use as my dreadnoughts, my Hellbrutes, because I don't like the Hellbrute model. It's a little bit too organic, I guess, for what I think 1,000 Suns should have. And I'm using the Osiris Contemptors as my Contemptors, but I thought it'd be cool to use the Forge World, like those robots, as Hellbrutes. So I've ordered 2 of those. They should be here at some point. So I do think they have play. The problem is ultimately is like, I don't know if it's enough play, because it's like by the time you give them, say, like a twin missile launcher, they're almost the cost of a Contemptor, right? And yeah, they don't cost CP, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know, just I kind of, there's just something about like missile launchers that I like, I guess you could do, what is it, multi las cannon? Let me see let me pull up Battlescribe here. What's the loadout that you can do? Can you do missile launcher las cannon? Would that be the way that you would run them? Let's see here. I just crashed Battlescribe, of course. Let's see. So Hellbrute. Okay, so I'd probably run Twin Las Cannon. See, that's the thing, right? I guess it's 135 points. Yeah. I don't know, there's something about like a single crack missile a turn that it just feels bad, you know? It's like, it's essentially got 3 shots, that thing. Right? And it just feels like so little shots. Like, here's the thing. So I get 3 shots for 135 points. For 25 more points, I can have a Forgefiend, which has 8 shots. So there's this thing where it's like, with the 2 double Hades, which are AP2, strength 8, like, so for 25 more points, I think I take the Forgefiend with a 48-inch range, right? It almost feels a bit better. Obviously, the Volcons are just too cheap. For 15 more points, getting a Volcon is like too cheap. Yeah, you lose a CP, but you're not going to be losing 1 CP. You're not going to be spamming these anyways. The problem with the Hellbrute, I just find, is it's got 3 shots, really. And on the math of 3 shots, like, you end up getting one of those 3 through. Like, between hitting, like, you roll 3 hits, you're gonna miss once, and then you roll 2 wounds, you're probably gonna wound once. So on average, you're wounding, of those 3 shots, you're wounding once. For D6, potentially, they could save, in which case it does 0 damage. So there's something about the volume of fire that you get out of like a Hellbrute, which does 8 shots. A Forgefiend, which does 8 shots. With +1 to hit, you're getting like 7 hits. Right? So then all of a sudden you're doing like 6 wounds, and then there's just a volume of dice there that I think ends up being like a lot better than like the 3 shots that the Hellbrute gets. That's just like my opinion. I kind of feel like on the math, efficiency wise, you probably end up better off with like a Forgefiend. Now, albeit you do lose the -1 damage, but you gain range, and you gain a decent close combat ability, and you gain like a more consistent damage, right? The D6 damage is so fucking streaky sometimes. It's annoying. So we'll see. So I'm gonna build this one initially, guys, with the Hades, because I do want to have this ready to go for tomorrow's game. But I'm gonna show you guys how I'm gonna magnetize it to basically do both. So I'm gonna clip off these Hades for now. Does anyone else just clip off everything that they need instead of doing it like this is a pretty simple kit, so I'm not worried about like mixing stuff up. Some kits I do actually keep things on the sprue until I'm ready to like use the part. But for something like this, I'm just like, fuck it, give me it all, right? Like, I don't want to have to keep like going back to like the sprue. It's the chef in me, the like efficiency of like a chef, where it's like once you put something down, you don't want to have to like go back to it and keep picking something back up. So that's kind of my thoughts on the Hellbrute. I don't know, what do you think? What's your thoughts, Hakan? Like, why do you think that it's why do you think that it is like a thing that I should take, I guess is the best way to put it? Or why do you guys think it's good? I'm interested to hear. Yeah, so, but that's the thing, like, it's so stupid. Okay, so now if you had an Exalted, say, for instance, babysitting 3 Hellbrutes, I think that's okay. If you make one, say, +1, what am I looking for? So I don't need those right now. Do I need the feet? That's in the feet. I do want these for the guns, because I'm gonna put those in the guns. I am gonna put the lasher tendrils on because I'm gonna be doing the conversion, the Blastoise conversion, which means it does get lasher tendrils on both versions. So clip those off. Yeah, I agree, but like, I guess it's 9 wounds, right? So I don't know. I think it's hard to say, like, I don't know if I have the answer, to be honest. so I don't need those ones for this. I want the Lasher tendril version. Where does that go? I don't understand. What are those for? Oh, magma cutters. Whoever fucking uses the magma cutters, fuck those. Does anyone ever use the magma cutters? Or does it come with magma cutters? How does this work? I've never actually fucking taken a Forgefiend. Let me see here. Mauler Fiend. What does it even do? Magma cutters. Oh, they're Assault 2, AP 4. Oh, wow. Assault 2, Strength 4, D6 plus 2 damage. And the fists are D3 plus 3 with 6 attacks. That's actually not bad. Right? For 140 points, what's the Lasher Tendrils do? 6 additional attacks at Strength 7, AP 2, 1 damage. I kind of actually like the Magma Cutters for 140. Guys, that's actually really good. So check this out. Mauler Fiend, Weapon Skill 3, 6 Strength 14 attacks, AP 3, D3 plus 3 damage. And then two Magma Cutters or one? Just one Magma Cutter. Assault 2, Strength 8, AP 4, D6 plus 2 damage. Like, that's a nasty little, like, hunter. Guys, I may have been sold. I just may have sold myself on a Mauler Fiend, which I've never actually fucking run. But throw Prescience on that, hitting on 2s. Maybe even throw Diabolic Strength on it, so it's got +1 attack. The new Diabolic Strength, right? That's actually kind of nice. Like, that's a nasty little close combat threat to sit in your backlines for 140 points. Just hide behind a building and just be like a really nasty, like, counter threat, you know? What do you guys think? 140 points for that? Like, given that Thousand Suns don't have like a super big, beefy combat unit, I actually think I may have sold myself on a Mauler Fiend. One day. Okay, I think that's everything I need from this one. Let me get all the bits from this one. I don't know. We'll see. I kind of like, I'm actually, like, fuck, I hope, imagine we got, like, Demon Forge still, on the Weapon Skill 3, with those new stats. That'd be really nice. It's a nasty, that picks up, like, a lot. I wish they were core, though, you know? That would be the icing on the cake. Potentially giving him, what else can you give him? Can you give him +1 AP, or is that only ranged? Okay, I'm gonna leave the head on for now, because I want to try to use this Helldrake head. Although, looking at it, I think I can make it work. Could look weird. We can come back to it. You miss what a lot? Demon Forge? Oh, yeah, that sucks. Okay. Give me that. Give me the arm. Big leg. Just that baby off. Do I need these little guys? No, that's for the magma cutters. Do I need those things? Probably. The legs. Yeah. I wish we got... I think our stratagems are... I'm happy with them overall, but there's definitely some, like... some stinkers in there, I guess, and some ones that I wish could be a little bit better. So... don't need need that head, don't need his legs, don't need that head. Okay, I think I got everything. That's all magma cutter stuff. Oh, maybe this thing. Oh, is that magma cutters as well? Who knows? Just cut it off anyways. I'll come back to this sprue if I'm missing stuff. Alright. Let's do some mold iron, baby. Okay, so big guys first. So anyways, yeah, so right now my current list, so I'll take you guys through my current list that I'm gonna be running in my here, I'll post it in chat. Where is it? Is that the one? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go. Man, Battlescribe is really slow right now. And then what did I want here? Jesus. Man, Battlescribe is really laggy on this 1000 something. Like when I use the up and down buttons. You see here. I have a fucking beefy computer too. I don't know why it's so bloody slow. Okay, here's my list. I'm gonna post it for you guys in chat. You guys can see what I'm gonna run. Let me see if this works. Oh, that's awful. Don't even read that. Okay, I'll take you guys through it. I'll just throw it up on screen, guys. How about that while I build stuff? Let me see here. How do I do that? There we go. Okay, so here's my list. So I got Armin, Gaze of Hate, Temporal Surge, Perplex, and then Zinch's Firestorm, Doombolt. So this is the guy with the like crazy kit. Let's see if I can fix that really quick. Working. There we go. There we go. So, yeah, so Armin. The spell's obviously a good change, guys. I'm just kind of playing around with it. I got Exalted Sorcerer. With like, so this is like my favorite Exalted Sorcerer setup so far. So he's got Cult of Time, Doombolt, Athenian Scroll, Zinch's Firestorm, and then the Dilettante, the Immaterial Echo, and then the Cronus Tutorum. So why I like this combo, guys, is because, why I like this combo is so I use the Athenian Scrolls, most likely on Zinch's Firestorm turn 1. so that I get it on 3d6, which means I roll 3d6 and on an 8+, because I get +1 to cast. I proc the 9+ for the Immaterial Echo, which I think will be fairly common, because the average on, like, obviously it's still the 2 highest dice, but basically I think you almost proc that almost every turn, especially with Cabal points if you want to use them. So that then, and then the Chronos Temporum, why I really like that is because it kind of gives me a flex. So depending on the matchup, I can either tech into an additional spell, because I can take Lord of Forbidden Lore or whatever, or I can tech more into like a little bit shooty and fighty with the fallback and shoot and the extra range for Aether Stride. I can tech into potentially like a little bit tankier with the 3++. If I think I need it, I probably will never take that. If I want to do a bit more actions or Cabal points and sit back a little bit, then I can tech into the action one. Or actually, I can't, because or I can give him double Kabbalistic Ritual, which I think could be nice in some matchups. Right? So I like the fact that I get to choose that at the start of my command phase, because the thing is, with the extra spell too, I generate the spell when I pick the trait. So in a lot of matchups, it saves me a CP from Chaos Familiar, or whatever it's called now, to tech into an extra like a spell that I may have needed, like a Death Hex. Like, you'll notice there's no Death Hex in my list, right? And so the idea is like, if I'm playing a matchup where Death Hex is really important, I could tech him into it. Or say there's a matchup where I just want to do lots of mortals. You know, he doesn't really need it because he's already got 3 damage spells, but then I can maybe tech into like utility spell or just something else that would be helpful. So I like the flexibility there. And if you're taking already, like if you want an extra spell and you're taking a relic to get it, this is always a better choice if you don't have that Warlord trait on another character already, because you can always just tech into the extra spell anyways. But then in the games where you don't actually need the extra spell, you can tech into something else. So I think in most matchups, it's actually better to take this Chronos Temporum than the relic that gives you the extra spell. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's my first kind of like janky thing. And yeah, I think he's going to reliably get off 2 to 3 damage spells a turn. Like, I think basically he gets 2 spells off a turn, guaranteed. And that's where like a Doombolt, a Smite, and a Tzeentch Firestorm every turn, because he's going to cast Doombolt first, or sorry, Tzeentch Firestorm first, probably on a high cast because of his spells, or sorry, his 3d6. Then he's gonna get a free undeniable spell. That could be maybe your Doombolt, or it could be your Smite, whatever you want. Then he's gonna get his actual second cast, and then potentially, if you do give him a 4th spell, he could potentially cast a 4th spell with the stratagem. So he could technically cast 4 spells a turn, which I think is like pretty strong. Maybe a Temporal Surge and then warp time him out of there, so you can kind of be like so here's the move. You move him up, you drop your 3 mortal wound spells, your Smite, your Doombolt, your Tzeentch Firestorm, and then on your 4th spell for the stratagem, you fly out of there and maybe use a Cabal point for that one, so it's undeniable. You know what I'm saying? So all of a sudden you're in this mode where you have this, like, you pop out, you do your spells, you pop back, right? Now obviously that's not going to work in every matchup. There's gonna be certain matchups you're gonna be careful, but I really like that tech. I really like that flexibility. Also, he's got Cult of Time spell if he really needs it, so he can heal himself as well. So that's the first thing. The Infernal Master, I gave him the 2. Obviously, he's got the, I think, +1. What is that spell? He's got Presage, because he's going to sit with my vehicles, right? So he's going to give 1 vehicle -1 AP, and 1 vehicle, basically, +1 to hit. So that'll be either the Contemptor or the Forgefiend or the Whirlwind Scorpius, which I've included in the list, depending on the matchup, right? So I really like that tech as well. Exactly. And because it's 12 inches, it's like a 30-inch threat range, because, right? Plus he can, like, so this is where I like, so for character sniping, this is where I like this guy, because what I can do is take the Warlord trait that gives me take the Warlord trait that gives me the 2 Kabbalistic rituals, right? Then what I can do is I can like move up, cast a Zinch's Firestorm on a character, get it off because I got 3 dice, give it the extra D3 mortal wounds with Cabal points, right? So that's most likely 5 mortal wounds on average, minimum, to most characters. That kills most characters. But if it doesn't, I can then like Gaze of Hate that character, and then with the second Cabal points, I can warp time back out of there. And if I'm worried again about getting it off, I can use 2 Kabbalistic rituals. So I can use the extra D3 mortal wounds and then another Kabbalistic ritual to make sure my warp time goes off. So to get him out of there, right? So I think there's some strength there. That's why I really like that. And then into my like regular troops, I have 3 units of rubrics, 6-man. I had some extra points and I wasn't really sure. And I'm interested to hear what you guys think, but I ended up going with just another rubric in each unit. But I was thinking maybe throwing in like 2 solo spawn because that's about the same points. Or I could probably fit in like a minimum unit of Zangors. Or I could almost fit in a Rhino if I like drop a few Zangors. So I'm not sure what I want to do with that extra little bit of points, but obviously you guys saw what I did, which was just give an extra rubric. I figure a 6th rubric in each squad gives the unit just a bit more resiliency early game. And also with Cult of Time, yeah, I like the spawn too. I'm just worried, like, is 2 spawn kind of pointless? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, are they just gonna die really quickly and then not really do anything? Like, and then do I run them solo? Like, do I run two 1-man spawn units, or do I run a 2-man spawn unit? I think if you only have 2, I think it's better to just run 2 1-man spawn units, right? You get a bit more board presence, you get a bit more utility. Have 1 camp on an objective while you move up the rest of your stuff. My other option is, and I'm thinking really hard about this, guys, for 85 points, I can get a Changecaster who can take Gaze of Fate, which is strong, but also Flickering Flames for my Forgefiend to give it +1 a wound. And then if I give it +1 strength from the spell, all of a sudden it's wounding T8 stuff on 2 pluses, you know? Which I'd like as well. A third option is kind of do both, which is like just leave it as summoning points, and I could actually technically summon spawn. I think. Do they have demonic ritual? Can you summon spawn? I don't think actually you can. So I take that back. That'd be really cool if you could summon spawn. Can you? Oh no, I think you can summon Zinch spawn, can't you? Like demon from the demon book. I'm pretty sure they get the mark of your. Someone check that for me. Do chaos spawn in the demon book have demonic ritual? Does anyone know that? Oh, that's lame. That would be cool though if I could just like either take the spawn, but obviously they wouldn't be thousand sun spawn, but like I probably wouldn't be buffing them anyways. But it'd be cool to be able to either summon that. I could maybe summon 3 flamers. That could be helpful in some matchups, but probably not. I probably wouldn't do that. So I just think for now I'm gonna run with the extra rubric. I'm gonna see how my I might switch to the 2 spawn for the game tomorrow because I'm just not sure. Like, I only have the 1 unit of Zangors, which means my actual board presence is not that amazing. So yeah, I think that last like 80 points is probably like the hardest points to spend. And then obviously I have my 1 Zangar unit, so this will be like a very early game threat. Obviously I wouldn't use my so it's 18 Zangor with Brayhorn. Obviously I wouldn't use my Dark Matter Crystal on this. This would be strictly just like start behind cover, run up turn 1, advance, get on some early game objectives, throw a Weaver on them so that they're just like annoying to kill, throw a Glamour on them turn 1, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, that's actually a decent amount of firepower to shift that. Keep my Terminators in hiding, so they're gonna not necessarily gonna be in a place where they're gonna get shot. Obviously on certain boards, if I can't do that, they'll get the Weaver and the Glamour. Like if I can't hide the Terminators, they'll get both those buffs. Like if I think I'm worried about them getting shot up. But in general, you know, that would be the strategy with them. And then as far as the next unit, so I think I have, let me see here. Volcon, obviously, and then the big Scarab Cult block. So this is 10 Scarab Occults with double Soul Reaper, double Hellfire, and I obviously just want stacking buffs on here. Big beefy unit. It's going to do lots of damage. This is where I also gave the Rites of Coalescence to the champion. So basically, with Cult of Time and the Stratagem, I can basically bring back 2 a turn by kind of being smart about my smites. Remember, guys, you can smite even if nothing's in range. So say so on my 5th smite, I believe, it becomes a 9+. So let's see. So first is 5, second is 6, third is 7, fourth is 8, and 5th is 9. So what I could do is if I have, say, my 2 rubric units in cover, my Zangor, I just throw smites out. Maybe there's nothing there, but now all of a sudden my Terminators are smiting on a 9+, and then I use my Cabal points to auto cast it at the minimum cast value, which means the smite goes off on a 9+. Combo that with my 1 CP Stratagem, that if I roll an unmodified, or if I get an unmodified 9+ on a spell, I can bring back a model. So then between that and Cult of Time, all of a sudden I'm bringing back 2 Terminators a turn, right? So I like that. I really like that. I like that little, like, and that's going to be like one of my to the last targets and just really hard to shift. And one thing, guys, remember also with the, sorry, what was I going to say? With the rules for bringing back models, you can actually, and there might be, you can actually like put them closer to the opponent than they started. So there might be certain times where you need to make like a charge, and that unit's maybe lost a model, right? Because remember, if you take a Perils, the unit takes D3 mortals, right? So what if you lose a model from that unit, and then all of a sudden you are, say you drop or like maybe you drop out a Deep Strike. I don't know, that obviously probably won't work, but say you're like a longer charge from something, you can move up, then you can summon, like bring back a model and put him 2 inches closer. So all of a sudden, with the 40 mil base and the 2 inch, 1 inch, so it'll be 2 inches of 2 inches. So you probably get about 1.5 inches coherency. You're talking an extra like 3 inches on a charge, right? You got kind of a charge 3 inches closer, which I think is actually really, really strong. Right? I can't tell if these, So anyway, so that's the next block. I got a Zangor Shaman. I know a lot of people are kind of poo-pooing, but with the big block of Zangors, I want the Zangor Shaman. He's also got the Crystal, so you can fly around and crystal the unit that I need him. He's also got Seacrafter Shadows, which lets him basically generate an additional Cabal point and then also roll a extra D6 for his, yeah, exactly. So someone has a Auspex scan. I might actually eat the Auspex scan in some cases, right? Let them Auspex scan me. That's actually a good thing. It's my old horror trick from 8th edition, if you guys remember, where I would like to eat the Overwatch so I could split up blue horror closer. That was like my patented move, and then people started like realizing what I was doing, so they stopped overwatching my horrors, because I would charge with my horrors, my big block, they'd overwatch, I'd lose 1, I kept 5 points for a blue, and then I'd pop the blue forward after I lost a horror, because I'd always take I take the first wound always on my armor save, which is a 6+, not my invuln. So I lose a horror, pop a blue forward, all of a sudden my 9-inch charge turns into a 6-inch charge out of Deep Strike, right? And then I have a 25 block of horror that I would like charge and then spread out onto like objectives, block shit, tag stuff. It's just super annoying, right? That was one of my favorite Gym Vessel janky moves from 8th edition that no longer is possible because everyone knows that's happening. But you can actually still do that in this edition. The only issue is that you don't get as much movement because you have to be within 2 inches of, yeah. But that was a nice move, I thought. People, when they saw me do that, they were like, huh, okay. And then people used to always just put 5 points in their armies for splits for just that reason. Because it is a fun little like janky move, you know? It's won me games, that individual tactic in 8th, back when I was a good player. So Zangor Shaman, and then final round out, you can't really see it. Maybe I'll see if I scroll down. I got a Forgefiend and Double Hades, which is what I'm building right now, and a Whirlwind Scorpius. And the reason I have the Whirlwind Scorpius, so hear me out, guys. I think it's an expensive choice. Yeah, it's 170 points. Yeah, it's 1 CP, right? I believe it's 1 CP. Oh no, yeah, 1 CP. But here's the thing. One of my biggest fears with playing Thousand Suns is being in a position where I have quite a bit of damage up front. Like my kill zone is 18 inches, right? The Thousand Suns kill zone is between 18 and 24 inches, right? That's kind of like the ideal zone that they want to keep you at that distance so that you can't get easy charges. But also that's where like the smites come in. So maybe actually it's closer to 12 to 20. That's more like a, I guess, threat range you want to be, because right at 18, you know, a few smites and all of a sudden they're out of range of the rest of the smites. So you don't want to be right at 18. You want to be like at like 15, so that even if you smite off say 3-4 models, they're still in range of additional smites. But one of the problems with that is like, what are you going to do to force your opponent to come towards you? And so my thought process with the Scorpius is basically I keep it in the army. That's going to sit back. It's going to force my opponent. It's going to do lots of chip damage, pick away at back objectives, chip away at like things like Hive Guard, which are like fucking one of the kinds of units that will destroy your army really quickly. And obviously if they have the thing that ignores AP 1 and 2, you can make it AP 3 with the Infernal Master. You can make it strength 7 with the spell. You can get +1 to hit, right? So all of a sudden, you know, 3d3, strength 7, AP 3, damage 2, you're picking up Marine squads on back objectives. You're picking up a lot of things. You could probably even pick up a Raider with that, with a decent roll that's hiding, right? So it just gives you some ability to hurt things that are hiding out of line of sight, that are trying to avoid getting into that smite range. And once your opponent sees you have it, they can't ignore it, because over 5 turns, that thing just pounding them all game, it's gonna do a lot of work. And so what it does is I think it kind of forces your opponent to come engage with you and play with you. So that's the theory anyways, guys. Like, I mean, obviously I haven't played with it, but I'm gonna be running it in my game tomorrow and see how it does. But on like certain tables, I think it could be like really, really strong, right? What do you guys think? Do you think I'm crazy? Does that theory check out with you? Or do you think that it's overcosted and not a thing? I'm interested to hear what everyone's take is, because people look at it and they're like, it's expensive. And yeah, it's not as good as it used to be. Like shooting twice before was really good, but like it can do damage. And that's the other reason I like the Hades autocannons on the Forgefiend, because those two and the Volcan are all 45 to 48 inch range. So those can sit very backboard and force your opponent to actually come and play with you. So I think a Thousand Suns army that doesn't have enough shooting is really, really going to suffer, because if you only have, say, one long range unit, yeah, so say you only have one long range unit, like say you only have one Forgefiend or one Volcan, if you're playing, say, against Dark Eldar, right? And they're going to pop out, they're going to jump, you know, 17 trillion Dark Lances into it, probably kill it. Oh yeah, now it's got a 5++. That's the other thing, right? So Scorpius also has a 5++ now. So if you only have one long range threat, once it's gone, there's no reason for your opponent to come play into smite range, right? They're going to keep you at arm's length, try to kind of cut you around, play at 18 inches so that your smites and your psychics are like a lot less effective. So for me, having multiple shooting threats and long range threats that can basically force the opponent to come to you, I think is actually really, really strong and necessary in Thousand Suns. And that's why I like the 3 different shooting things, because it gives me, they're all different profiles, obviously. They're all damage 2, which is unfortunate. So I am tempted, and I am thinking a lot hard about maybe switching the Forgefiend over to triple ectoplasm cannon. And yeah, it's 36 inches, but with the 6-inch range buff, the spell, it's 42 inches, and now all of a sudden it's playing at very long ranges, flat 3 damage. Yeah, that's the thing with the Scorpius. It can shoot things out of line of sight, right? So you're gonna be able to hide it behind terrain on a decent table and just pound your opponent and force them to come to you. And then all of a sudden, they're gonna come into the kill zone of those Terminators, of those smites, of those casters, of all your rubrics, right? That's where I think that's kind of the theory anyways. We'll see if it actually like pans out, you know? They always say like no, what is it, like no good plans survives contact the enemy or something like that. So we'll see. What do you guys think? Am I crazy? Is that valid? Do you think I'm an insane person? Well, I am an insane person. That's true. But the question is am I an insane person that makes a lot of sense? Right? Yeah, so I'm gonna try really hard. I can't guarantee it, to get my streaming set up for tomorrow. If I do get it set up, basically I have like a 4K webcam, I have OBS. I gotta just maybe I'll talk to Richard Hughes tonight, see if he can send me some overlays. I just need some like some streaming overlays, and then I just gotta see if I can mount my camera like decently and get my table internet. Maybe I'll try to do that tonight. I have a long day tomorrow, and I don't get home till about 5, and then my game is at 6. So I'm just like sketchy on whether I'll have time to do it. But if I can, I will definitely like say that I'm playing this game or stream the game. Yeah. Yeah, you are insane, man. Those are all the bad things. I do think Zangors have play though, right? Like, again, my biggest decision as Zangors is, do I run just 2 10-mans with like Brayhorns, or just naked and just run them as like screeners, or do I try to like actually use them in an effective way? And for me, it's like both. Like, I want to use them. Like, I want my cake to eat and eat it too, which I don't know if it's possible. Anyways, that's my list. So back to oh no, this one. Okay, back to my building. So let's see what I'm up to. Yeah, look, my goal is to get it set up at some point. I just don't know when. So you're probably wondering why I'm not attaching the legs right now, even though they're ready. It's because what I want to do is, I'm hoping the base dries a little bit more, and then I want to pose it on the base, and then just make sure the legs are like set up in a way that they're not like it's sitting flat on the base. So I'm gonna do that afterwards, before, like when it's ready to kind of go into the base. And I don't know if I'm gonna glue it on to the base to paint, because I want to be able to get underneath it, and also the base is not dry, and also yeah, that's the main reasons. I just want to be able to get underneath it. So I just might put it onto a plane. I might just like put it onto like a stick or something that's gonna make it easy to paint. Yeah, honestly guys, like I don't understand the hate for Zangors though, because like a lot of people are like, oh, we don't want Codex Zangors, but like, if you think about the background, it's like, it's the same reason I like cultists, because I think it's part of the army. I think it's a themed part of the army. I know a lot of people don't like Zangors because they're like, oh, like, but like Zangors have actually been in 40k since 2nd edition, right? And anyone saying like, look, if you guys want to make the argument that like, oh, why didn't they have Zangors before, and why aren't they all in the fluff? Well, do you never want new units? Because that argument essentially says that, well, if they don't already have something in the army, and if they haven't read about it in like a book, they should never get any sort of new units, because as soon as they release a new unit, you're gonna be like, oh, well, that unit was not in the background, so like, why do they have Zangors now, or why do they have this new cool Scarab Occult unit? We never heard about that before. So that argument is dumb, first of all. The argument that like, well, they didn't have it before, and they shouldn't be part of the army. And so for me, Zangors are part of the army. Like, they are beastmen and cultists and all those kind of mutants and riffraff. That's a big part of Chaos background, right? Like, the Chaos forces have been decimated over 10,000 years. They don't have Legion strength arm, like it's mostly warbands, which is lots of slaves and subhumans and abhumans and all sorts of other nasties and gribblies. So for me, Zangors are like part of the it's like part of the background now, right? Just like Lord Discordants were not part of Chaos Space Marines, but now they are, right? No one was like, oh, why do we get this really cool sick model with really sick rules? It wasn't in the background, blah, right? I think the only problem is in the old editions, like in 8th, the army was, well, so the two feel bats for me for Zangors is it feels like, you know, they are dual kit, obviously for Age of Sigmar, which I don't think is a bad thing, like with the bolter. So I would have liked maybe a more 40k focused kit, but you know, I'll take it. Second, I think they just, like, if they had, I just wish they had better rules and the army could actually like run more Zangors, because I know a lot of Thousand Suns players are like, oh, we didn't want Codex Zangors. We wanted Codex Thousand Suns, right? And I get that, but like ultimately, I didn't want Chaos Cultists either, but I think Cultists are a great part of Chaos, right? And they're a big part of the background and the lore and the fluff. So anyone saying that like, oh, like you don't have to put them in your army, right? And especially now, you definitely don't have to put them in your army. So for me, like, I just don't get the Zangor hate. I think that they're, the models are great. I think it's cool background stuff. Like, yeah, I just don't get it. Cambobo, oh, I'm playing against, so I was like, I just went over that, man. What are you talking about? I'm playing against Salamanders, Space Marines. It's like basically Eradicators, Aggressors, I think 2 units of Outriders. It's just kind of like a mix list. It's honestly, guys, it's the last game of our 40k league in BC, and it's like the only player that like I basically, because we only have like 10 players in our division, so it's like the only other player. I think he's like 2-2 or 3-2 or something. So I'm not too worried about the game, like as far as like skill level. I'm pretty sure I'll win. I'm more just concerned about like playing my list and like teching my list and kind of getting reps in. And I know that sounds kind of cocky, but to be honest, like there's only like in every one of our divisions for the league, there's maybe like one or two good players. The rest are new players, which is good because that's the point of the league, is to like help new players. But like for the most part, I'm not worried about most of the opponents. I'm just worried about, like, you know what I'm saying? So for me, tomorrow will be more of like a teaching game for him probably, and a learning game for me as far as getting kind of my hands dirty with the K-Suns. Does that go like that? Nope. Like that. They're goatmen. They're bird goatmen. What are you talking about, Hakan? All right, let's see here. Okay, vents, boom. What's next? Let me put these claw thingies aside. Okay, next, let's see. Let's do the... So this is kind of how I'm gonna mount these, like, see these guns? I think what I'm gonna do is... Where is it? Put a magnet like right there, and then they're gonna mount like that basically. I mean, sure, but so does 40k. 40k has always had beastmen since like the very early incarnations, right? It's not like it's just like saying like I don't know. Does fantasy have humans? Like the beastmen are just like a type of human basically. They're just like mutated humans. It's not like some like exotic race that like only belongs in 40k or fantasy, right? Just like fantasy has Eldar too. Let's go this way. This way. What's an actual goatman model though? Dan, I think, so I'm going to be building this as Hades for my game tomorrow, but I'm thinking triple ectoplasm is actually not bad either. Connor, we just went through this, but I'm not a huge Hellbrute fan. I think like probably missile launcher or las cannon if you want to take a shooty version. I just think for the 135 you're paying, like there's better shooting options for slightly more points. Like 160 you get a Forgefiend, which has a lot better shooting in my opinion. Right? So the problem with the triple ectoplasm is that it gets quite expensive, right? We're talking 170 points now, or 100, sorry. Is it? How many points is it? Oh, that's why. Triple ectoplasm is 155. So I actually don't mind that. Right? That's actually cheaper than the, hey Dan. Okay, there's the body. The guns. Keep those aside. Okay, next what I'm gonna do is the legs. The thing I like about the ectos now, the problem with the ectos is they're very streaky. So 3D3, what's the average on 3D3? 4.5, right? That's not a lot. The thing is though, like, for Fist and Plasma, I don't know how much that is, but like, yes, you get rerolls, but like, I'd rather have 8 shots, strength 8, AP2, than rerolls on a Plasma, right? Like, overall, I'm still gonna get more hits with the Hades, even if I don't have rerolls, right? So it's like, yes, there's rerolls, but like, the rerolls are only rerolling on like a 3-shot weapon. Like, what's the stats on the? Let me see here. This Plasma. The problem with the Plasma though is it's just heavy D3 though, man, right? Like, you get 1 shot out of that, it's like, cool, I get a reroll on 1 shot. And it's like, yeah, it just feels like not very much shooting. I'd much rather have the 8 shots without rerolls, because you're on average gonna get like 6 hits, or like 7 hits, maybe with a presage on them, versus 1 hit even with a reroll. You know what I'm saying? Like, just the game is a game of dice, and my problem with weapons with very low amount of shots is that there's more opportunities for the dice to like go poorly, right? Oh fuck, I just realized I forgot to pay my parking. Did I pay my parking? Let's see here. Jim, did you pay parking? Oh fuck, I didn't. Where did I park? God damn it, guys. 6453. Jesus. You know what? I'll have to go after the stream. Because if I didn't get a ticket already, I probably will. Yeah, but why not both, right? No, it's not gonna get towed. It's just like, I always like, I look at the meter, I write down the number, and then I go into my apartment and I forget. I'm running both, Connor, because I think the thousands, they need it. I think we need that long range shooting. And depending on the matchup, you're gonna want to split your buffs, right? So like some matchups you might want the AP1 on the Volkite and the Strength 7, and some matchups you might want the AP1 and Strength 7 on the Forgefiend, just depending on what you're shooting. Because like, if you're trying to shoot big vehicles, right? Like a T7 something, or T8 something. Yeah, I don't have paid parking where I live. And, but I have a work vehicle. It's like street parking, so I just pay. There's obviously permit parking, but because it's my work vehicle, I don't have permit parking. So I just pay, but my work covers it, so it's not a big deal. I just gotta actually pay for it. What they don't cover though is the fucking parking ticket that I might get if I get a ticket. So I could very well have cost myself 40 bucks just for being a dum-dum. I think Volcate and Forgefiend is the way to go. It just gives you lots of options, and just depending on how you split your buffs and in certain matchups, you can make like one of them really effective against certain types of profiles, right? So like if I'm playing, so here's the thing, if I'm playing orcs, right? Does anyone know, is Ramshackle strength 7 or strength 8 or lower? Like it works against strength, it doesn't work against strength 8 or doesn't work against strength 7? Does anyone remember the new orc rule? Yeah, the problem is, yeah, okay, so here, okay, so two things, Connor, and I'll talk to you so in the orc matchup, right, when he's got those fucking kill rigs, which are gnarly, strength, they're T8, right, I throw my +1 strength on my Forgefiend, right, now all of a sudden it's wounding the thing on 3s, and I can actually do damage to that that kill rig, and then I don't do anything on the Volkite because the Ramshackle is going to make the Volkite really ineffective. So I just play the Volkite as like a horde clearer or like a mortal wound killer, or maybe they kill like beast the little dudes, like the guys on the horses, whatever. But in like the Dark Eldar matchup, I definitely give then there's no point in giving the Forgefiend strength 9 because Raiders are T6. But it actually helps a lot on the Volkites. So in that matchup, maybe I give the +1 strength to the Volkite, right? And the AP1. Now all of a sudden, I have 2 guns that are going to do really, really well against Raiders, right? Because strength 7, strength 8, AP1, AP2 versus a super beefed one. So in that matchup, I like that I have that option. You know what I'm saying? How's this going, fucker? Does that even go there? Oh no, that's not that. That's part of these legs. Hey Ben, how's it going, man? So in that matchup, I like that, right? So in that orc matchup. Now against, say, like, things where the breakpoint. So strength 9 and strength 9 is a weird breakpoint because there's nothing that's toughness 4.5. So generally, yeah, it just gives me the option of juicing whatever I need the most. So I like having both of those options. That's actually why I like the ectoplasm a little bit too, is because getting that thing up to strength 8 AP4 is really nasty. But the problem again is that's 4.5 shots. Let's say 5 on average. Say you roll really well, 5 on average. Okay, yeah, so I was gonna tell you the problem with the elegans though, right? I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying the one thing that you gotta remember is you have to pick the unit. Thanks, man. Thanks, Cameron. The thing is with elegans, you have to pick the unit as the target at the start of the command phase. So even though the buff is using the shooting phase, which means turn 1, if your opponent's smart, he'll know which model you have the elegans on, and he'll maybe move those models in a position where you can't pick those in your command phase before you move. So turn 1, it's not useful unless you put your character right out in the open, basically. Second, in subsequent turns, again, on maybe a medium terrain table, if you don't have angles on that thing in your command phase, it's gonna stop you being able to use it. So a smart opponent will know which model of yours has that relic, and will try to do their best to kind of move those shooting and larger models in areas where it's not gonna be able to get line of sight at them in the command phase. So I think there's a bit of a trap there, and it's something I just think you just need to be aware of. And I think could make it makes it not as strong as it could be. It's still good, obviously, especially good against, like, I don't know, like aircraft, because you can obviously always see them. Anything else like that, and obviously if you're having a Contemptor duel, it's really nice too because it keeps them at damage 2, but you only at damage 1. Like your guys will be -1 damage, but theirs won't. So I think that's actually nice too. It would be a great piece of tech to like tech into, you know? What's going on here? I'm like, where does these things go? That's cleaned, that's cleaned. Those are cleaned. Okay, just clean these two, and I think I can basically put this thing mostly together at this point. Yeah, that's the thing. And the other thing too is, Connor, sorry, I think there's better relics. Like, when you think about the fact that you have limited relic slots, I think I'd rather have like an Athenian Scrolls, a Dark Matter Crystal, and say like, I don't know, like the plate or something that's I know is going to be useful in every game and that my opponent can't kind of work around. Again, not saying it's not a good relic. And I think if you're running a core heavy list of say like, you know, shooting, of damage 2 shooting, it's really nice. Like say if you're going to run multiple Hell Brutes, or if you're going to run like a very heavy shooting list, I think it's the place to go. But ultimately, I think really good opponents are going to kind of figure out ways to kind of minimize it, I guess, because they're going to just know where your character is and then make sure that whatever unit that they don't want that getting targeted is like the fucking hell out of dodge, right? They're going to use angles, they're going to use the terrain. And again, it's at the start of your command phase, so if they're going to know where your character is and can position accordingly to stay out of the I guess like line of sight of it, right? Now it's not going to be like doable in every matchup, but I think in a lot of matchups for sure. Okay, what's going on here? I'm confused as to like the leg situation on these guys. So do all of them have hooves? Hooves, back, front legs? Oh, that's why. I see. No, wait. I don't even need these ones. God damn it. Okay, let's put some shit together. Okay, so this is gonna go like this. Come on. That's gonna go like that. Okay. So that's my issue with the relic. Hey Marco, thanks for following, man. Yeah, if anyone else is not following me on Twitch and or YouTube, please follow, please subscribe. Give me your Bezos bucks. Much appreciated. Okay, let's see here. How does this thing go on? Oh no, there's gotta be a piece here I'm missing. Aha, this guy. Almost fucked up, guys. Almost fucked up. You ever glue something together and then like realize that like there's another part that also needs to get glued in there, but like you put them in the wrong order and now the other part doesn't actually fit in there because of the way that the model's built? Okay, so yeah, I've done that many times. So what happens when you don't really follow the instructions and you just kind of go into your intuition? You end up with fucking models that are fucking half the time not built properly. But oh well, that's the way she goes. What's going on here? Like this, for instance. What do I do this here first? Okay. Jim, follow the instructions, you know? You won't be running into this if you just follow the instructions. I just don't like to follow the instructions. That's not the kind of guy I am, you know? Let's see. Okay, glue over my fingers, it's okay, you won't see this part anyways. Alright. Yeah, dude. I'm excited for them as well. Alright, so let's put this guy together. I'm gonna leave the tendrils off for now, because I think I'm gonna paint those separately anyways. But I want to show you guys how I'm gonna do this conversion. So I'm gonna grab my base. You can see it's like Still a little wet, but it's like dry enough that I can kind of do this part. Just gonna use my, I'm just scraping off the I'm scraping off any of the stuff that made it onto the sides. Clean it up. Okay. So what we need is first our back legs. So I'm just gonna basically trowel this with the back legs. So let me put the hooves in. And I think the hooves go, big toe is outwards or pointed inwards? Inwards, right? So like if these were feet, the big toe should go on the inside, correct? But are they feet? Or are they exactly symmetrical? I don't know. I don't think it matters. So the hoof, big toe is on the inside. So put that there. Oh, dude, that's a lot to build, dude. Dr. Dutes, literally, if you watch the very first 20 minutes of the stream, I do this base on stream, and I go through the exact steps. So, well, the very first bits, I talk and I do some Waterslide transfers, but the next, like, 15 minutes after that, I go through the base, how I do the base. So this exact base I build on stream. So go check it out, and you can see. It's really, really easy. Okay, so there's that. Where's the next little hoof? Come on, hoof. This is where I lose all the barts. And I'm like, derp, herp to derp. Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's gonna go there. Okay, so there's the two legs. And then I got these two things. Like that. Right? And then the Forgefiend guy goes in the middle. And then the neck. Where's the neck? Like boom. Then I got shoulder pads. And other stuff. Okay, so let's do this. Put this together. Okay, so what I want to do. So this is kind of why I'm doing it this way, guys. So I'm going to first just do a test fit on the legs. So this leg is supposed to sit like that. And this leg is supposed to sit like that. Just like this. Let's see here. So those would normally be like this, right? Flat there. So you can see that. Okay, so that would be the legs, like that. And then this arm, the idea is like that this arm is basically grabbing onto this piece here, right? And then the other arm is loose. So let me glue this arm on first, because I think that's the key arm. Actually, no, let me do the back legs first. I don't know how I forgot to do the mold lines on this. That's really rude of me. Really uncharacteristic of me. I'm like guys, you guys don't understand. I'm like a fucking mold line Nazi. Like I will literally be painting a model that I've done like perfect blends on, and I'll see a mold line, and I will like literally like ruin the blends to clean the mold line. Like that's how like anal I am about mold lines. So for me to forget to clean the mold lines on here is like weird. After running Bell Corbett, where are you with the, I never ran him in the Army of Renown, Connor. I just ran him in a Demons Attachment. I just don't think, so the Army of Renown, when Chaos Demons and Chaos Space Marines book comes out, could probably have some play. I think there's, when 2 Wound Space Marines and Demons come out, and like, they actually have good stratagems that are usable by that faction, I think that's when like, I'll take another look at it. But for now, actually, let me put the chimney stack on first, because that's going to interfere with some things. Oh, what am I doing? Why did I just do that? I just put a bunch of glue on the... Okay, no, it's actually not going to interfere. I just almost did this backwards, guys. That's how dumb I am. Okay, so let me try this again. So this arm's going to go in first, because that's the important arm. But this arm actually adjusts, so what am I doing there? I don't want to do that. These feet are going to go in first. See, guys? See how, like, absent-minded I am sometimes? Despite all the models I've built, I still fucking don't even... I try to rush, and then I don't really know what the fuck I'm doing. Let's see here. That's going to go like that. I want it as low as possible. Ow! And that's going to go like that. I want that as low as possible. Okay, so there's our 2 feet. Like this. Okay. So I'll go back to the base, and then this arm I want kind of bent low like this, right? Because I want it kind of grabbing this bricky thing. Is that gonna work? How far back do I have to go? Like that, basically. So I want him kind of arm on there. Let's see if I do it like that, will that fit? I guess that should work. Maybe a little bit off center. Let's see. I kind of want him like grabbing it like that. So that should work. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna glue it in, and lo and behold, because I was a dum-dum and put glue in there earlier, it's already glued. So see here. Like that. Okay, hold that. So there you go. So look, he's kind of grabbing this this rock, kind of climbing over. That's the idea. Anyways. Like that. Okay. Okay, then I'm gonna do the other arm, because this is like a opposable arm. I'm not gonna go on the base, but I want to kind of see where this one's gonna go. Oh, so I want this one lower, like that. Boom, like that, so he's on the ground. Just like that. Okay, so there's the kind of rough pose. So he's kind of grabbing the... Now you'll notice that the legs are kind of falling off. Do not to worry. I will remedy that shortly. But I think that's kind of the pose. So what I'm going to do to fix the legs is I'm going to add... This is why I do the this part first. Let's see here. You know what? I think I need to move these legs a bit inwards, so let's see if that's possible. Nope, those are glued. Let's see if I can rip that off. Nope, that's too much super glue. Okay, so what I'm gonna do actually is I'm gonna basically take the base. So let me see this base. And I'm gonna basically like, this is gonna be a bit of a hack, guys. So watch what I do here. I'm gonna kind of carve out a piece like this. Of this base. And now it's gonna be ugly. Like that. Maybe I'll even take this whole back chunk out. Like this. Okay, you're like, Jim, what the fuck are you doing? Well, you'll see my madness in a sec. See, what I should have done is actually built this model first, and then done the base, and built the base kind of up to the feet, but alas. Okay, then I'm gonna take a piece of cork. Like that. I'm basically gonna extend the base out a bit, just a little bit. And then I'm gonna break off. Oops. Okay, so super glue. It's like clogged with fucking. Okay, and then where's those pieces? That piece like that. And then, guys, I know you're like, Jim, that's fucking way too far back. Bear with me. I will fix it. And then I think it was like this piece. What piece was it? What piece attached to that? Let's just say this piece for now. Okay. So now you can see I've got this additional like space here. So now I can kind of move him back a bit. Like that. Now he's got somewhere to stand. So if you guys look here. So now he's actually got somewhere to stand. Before, there wasn't really much rock there. And now he's like... Okay, sorry. So now he's got someplace to stand for me to actually glue him down to in that pose. So now what I'm going to do... Let me see here. That's exactly how I want him. So you can see here, that's kind of how I want him, but this leg is up, right? That leg is up in the air. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build up this one a little bit. So I'm going to go like glue here and put a little piece of, like cut this flat like this. And then cut that like that. And again, it looks really shitty, guys, but just bear with me. This is why usually I do this in stages, or I do the base first. So now there's something kind of there to grab the putty. So now I'm going to grab my putty knife. And, okay, two things I'm actually going to do. First, I'm going to kind of hold this down and chip away at the bottom, because I don't want it overhanging too much. So just using my knife. Just going to very carefully pick away just enough that there's like a little kind of overhanging platform for him, but not too much. Okay, that's good. So I can go a little bit more. Just like that. And then on this side, I'm going to kind of do the same thing. Just to give it a rocky look. You guys are like, Jim, you're fucked. But bear with me. Okay, cut off some of this like overhang. Stuff that I don't need. Down here. Okay, there's my like back now, right? Okay, now, obviously I'm covered in fucking shit. Take my putty, and I'm gonna re-putty that area. A little bit of my Elmer's Pro Bond. Oh shit, lost a piece. Okay, just glue it on at this point. Get some on the edge here. Now what this does, also, it reinforces the cork. So it's gonna give the cork like a really, once it's dry, it's like kind of rock solid. So I can actually drill into it and glue directly onto it. And the cork, because the cork, like, you don't want to glue directly on a cork, because even though you can do it, the cork will break. And then you like, the model falls off the base with like a chunk of cork on the base. So instead, what I do is I kind of create these little platforms. And then I give them the Pro Bond. Like this. And again, it looks really messy, guys, but once it's dry, I'll like scrape off all this extra. And then I will continue to kind of kind of play with it a bit. So now I have a little raised thing here for his back foot, and then a flat piece for his front foot. That'll glue down. I'm not going to press it right now because it's wet. So I'm going to let that dry. And then basically the final step to actually glue it, I'm going to use green stuff. So once that's fully dry, I'll do green stuff on both legs, a big glob. I'll press it down with super glue on both sides of the green stuff into that. And then I'll use the sculpting tool to kind of blend the green stuff in with the base. And then basically by the end, you won't even be able to tell that like I made those modifications. Now this stuff, I'll go to fucking hell. That's kind of the base. Okay, so let me just clear this shit off. Okay, let's see here. All right, next we are going to do the magnetizing of the guns. So let's do this because that's what's gonna make it look really cool, I think. Make my Blastoise. Okay, so first I'm gonna get my model. I need my shoulder pads, so it's gonna be this one, right? And this one. And then I need my, let me put on the chimneys really quick. Should I do the chimneys separate? I think I'm gonna leave them off just to paint them separate because they're basically all metal. So from a painting perspective, I can just airbrush these silver and gold and it's done, and it'll keep out of the way of these. So let me just clean these off. I mean, realistically, if I want to do this really fast, I'd keep all of these armor plates off, but okay, so the first thing I'm going to do actually while I'm doing this, I'm going to take my 2 guns, take some green stuff. Mix together a bunch of green stuff. You can see how gnarly my green stuff is. It's like fucking, it's in saran wrap because I lost the paper. It's okay. Is that enough? That's probably enough. I always make way too much green stuff, but it's better to have more than you need. Pro tip, just get a little water in your hands, won't stick. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is grab my magnets. So for this, I have 2 sizes of magnets. These guys here, are they too big? Oh my god, look at that. That's a big fucking magnet. I might even need green stuff. Look how big that magnet is. I might be able to just carve out a little bit and just stick it right in there, throw the green stuff. Let me try that. Yeah, I think I can just do that. I'll put the green stuff behind it, but it's actually going to make my life a lot easier. So I'm just going to carve out a little bit of the hole. More. So it kind of curves. Oh, nice and flush. Let's see. Got a Dremel, this would be much easier. I could just kind of hollow out that metal. And I do have a Dremel, but I'm too lazy to pull it out. This will do. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my green stuff like this. Stick my green stuff ball there, like this. Put a little super glue on there. Boom. Around the rim. Take my magnet. Push it in there. Okay, there's my magnet. And then I'm gonna extract the magnet. The extra. Stop it. Okay, so there's a magnet. Oh! In there. And then I'm just going to use my knife to get the excess green stuff out of there. So push that in. Pull out the extra green stuff just from underneath. Just like that. Okay, so there's my one side magnetized. Okay, let that dry. And then once it's dry, I'll scrape off any kind of even more excess green stuff. But basically, I want this to be flush there. I don't want the magnet to be sticking out. Okay, same thing on the other side. So carve out a bit of the space. Again, this is like, if I had a magnet slightly smaller, I'd use it, but since it's just so perfect, I figured it actually makes my life a little bit easier. Because the stronger the magnet, the better, right? Get another one. Whoa! I just shot. Okay, carve out a little bit more. And then I'll show you guys what I can do the other side, and then we're gonna be laughing in fucking... Let's see here. Okay, that's good. So add a little my green stuff back in. Super glue. This super glue green stuff, like cement that I make, I use this often to join parts that are like really tough to stick, and it's like basically like so strong. Okay, this part's actually important because I want to make sure these are the same. So that's gonna go like that. Fuck. Which means that should also go like that. Okay, pull off the magnets, push it in. Okay, so there's my two halves. This one I use a slightly more same amount of green stuff. Okay, now what I'm gonna do, take my magnets, let that dry for a sec because I don't want these magnets to come out. I'm gonna grab my shoulder pads and I'm gonna basically do the similar thing on the other side. So this is that shoulder pad. That's the wrong shoulder pad. Where is it? Okay, so here's my two big shoulder pads. So basically what I want to do is I want to fit these on, and then I want these set up in a way that they basically stick in like that, right? So let me get the shoulder pad glued on first. I mean, it's viable, but like the thing is, like 11, how many smites is that? Like you only need to do 10 smites, or sorry, you need to do 6, 7 smites, I think, to get up to the point where you get the super smite. But the problem is like, is it better to, like at that point, do you even have anything left that's in smite range? And it's like, it's still a D6 smite, so it's like, what if you do all that work and you roll 1? So like for me, it's like, I'd rather the more okay, so like if the opportunity presents itself, it's like cool, but like, do I build a strategy and a list around it? No, because there's so many like obviously fail points. You're still casting smite, you're probably gonna fail your like 7th and 8th smites anyways, because they're gonna be on like 8s and 9s. So it's kind of like you're wasting a lot of spells just to get that extra D6, right? You can, Texas, but my point is like, on your 5th and 6th casts of smite, you're casting on an 8 and a 9, right? Which are like or a 10, 8 and a 9. Sorry, your 5th and 6th you're casting on like an 8 and a 9, and so you need like a 7, then you need an 8. So it's like at that point, trying to roll a 7 and getting 2 smites and like failing potentially those 2 smites to get up to the 9th or the 8th smite or the 7th smite so you can get the super. Are you better off just casting more damage spells, other damage spells, with the 7th and 8th, those casts, because you're using up casting or buffs or other things? Because if those 2 smites fail leading up to that 7th smite, and then you do the trick and you get your 7th smite and you auto cast it, well, it's D6 and you roll a 1, so it's like all that work of you use 3 spell slots, 4, maybe wasted 2 spells that you could have been better used, like a warp time or a buff or something like that. On the flip side, if you're investing so much into your list that it's easy for you to get up to that 7th and 8th smite or whatever, then you probably like just have so little on the table because you've got all casters, in which case your army is probably not good. So it's kind of like one of those situations where it's like, if it presents itself, great, but I just don't think that, it's worth essentially failing to cast 2 or 3 spells as you try to get up to that 7th smite, because you're gonna probably fail 1 or 2 of those smites just so you can get a D6 smite, when you're probably better off just like casting 1 more smite with the +1 and then casting like a Zinch's Firestorm or like another damage spell or a buff or a debuff. Like that random chance at the D6 mortals, it's like, you know, it's good, but it's like, I wouldn't build a game around that, right? You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? It's a lot of work for marginal overall average gain, I guess is my point. Because on average, even that 6 is only gonna be a 3. So were you better off casting like a Gaze of Hate? Like, have you already cast all your damage spells? Are you better off with a different spell that's gonna give you better force multiplication, like a Prescience? Because you're gonna eventually run out of spells to cast. Casters to cast them with. So you don't have unlimited casters, right? That's the thing. Okay, so I'm gonna take off these spikes. So there's like spikes on this inside, so I'm gonna take those off to make this easier. Does that make sense, Texas? What I'm saying? Like, in the end, you're gonna be using 2 of your spell casts to get that that up to that smite level. And the question is are those 2 casts that are going to be on a 7+ or 8+ to be successful, are those 2 spell casts better used trying to do something else, right? Now, again, are there situations where the answer to that is no? Of course. But I'd say in a lot of situations, the answer is probably yes. I'm building a Forgefiend with shoulder-mounted Hades autocannons. Okay, so that's glued down now. Boom. So now, this is kind of how I want this thing to go. So, I'm going to take my other magnet, which is going to be like a medium size. Let's go here. Okay, so there's my second magnet. Right? And I'm going to put this basically. So again, I'm going to go for my little green stuff trick here because I really want this magnet to stick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see where I want this thing posed. So I want the guns to be like this. They're going to sit just like that. So it's going to be just the center. That's where I want it. So I want it just below there. So I'm going to throw some glue there. Little ball of green stuff. Like that. Some more glue. Right? Then I'm going to take my magnet. Oh no. Hold on. Yeah, that's what I want. Push that in. Okay, boom. All right. Shoulder mounted. Fucking let's go, boys. Right? Now this is magnetized too, so I can switch it to Ectos, which is nice. So I can do this exact same thing with the Ectos and shoulder mount my other Ectos. And then the other thing too is I can kind of turn these, or they're gonna be like this a little bit, but that's okay. They're gonna sit like that, which I think should be fine given the pose, right? So it's gonna be like that, which will be perfect. So it'll be shooting forward. So I'll do the same thing the other side. Clean the mold lines. Blastoise is what I'm building. Chaos Blastoise. I think this looks way better because I hate how it looks when it has guns for arms. Like it reminds me of like someone like, you know, wyverns. You know wyverns, how like they don't have arms, they just have wings for arms. Like dragons have arms and legs, and then they have wings, and like wyverns have wings for arms. I always hated that because I'm like, well, how the fuck do they do anything? How do they grab things, right? They're like birds basically, right? It's like a bird. So for me, guns for arms is kind of dumb. So I'd much rather have them have the arms and have the fucking guns. Looks way better. Plus this way it's magnetized. So I can switch out for ectos because there's enough bits for that. Telling you guys. Okay, so now cut off the piece here. Do you think Magnus is required to make it strong? EJ Comics, I think the opposite. I think Magnus is required to make a bad Thousand Suns list. I don't think he's very good. He's too many points. He's too easy to kill. That's the problem with him. And the thing is, like, yes, he can cast every spell, but the amount of, like, he's gonna cast, oh shit. What did I just do? Is that the wrong piece? No, it's the right one. Okay, put the other shoulder pad on. The problem is like, for the points that you pay, you can get a much better, you can get like 2 casters. So let's say 2 Exalteds, which are gonna have 4 casts. So already 1 more cast than Magnus. They're not gonna be killable like Magnus. Yes, you're not gonna get every spell, but I mean, you're gonna have so many other casters that it's like, do you really need every spell, right? Is that a necessary thing to have every spell? So this one, guys, how do I want this mounted? This one's a little bit like higher because of the way that his arm's posed. So I think the way that I want this one to sit is, or the way that this will sit is like that. Let's see. So yeah, so that's kind of I don't think Magnus is very good, is my point. Like that, okay, so I actually want this one a little bit more ahead, just based on the way that this is posed. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of carve out this little bit of trim. See that? There's like a little bit of trim here. There's like a little bit of trim here that I need to carve out. Yeah, the problem with Magnus is like he doesn't have enough defensive ability and enough speed to keep himself alive. So he's gonna just end up dying in every game. People are gonna just target him. And for the points, for 450 points, you can have like a 6-man Rubrix Terminator squad and 2 Exalted Sorcerers, or like five Terminators and like 2 Sorcerers on disc, right? That's gonna give you a lot more versatility in a game, a lot harder to kill, a lot harder to like track down, a lot more board presence. Yeah, they don't have the beat stick combat ability, but like Magnus's combat ability is not any good to you, man, if he's dead, right? It's only good if he actually gets to fight. So what good is his combat ability if he's dead? You know what I'm saying, my friend? Okay, so now a little bit of glue, a little bit of green stuff. Okay, a little bit of glue. Okay, now we're gonna stick this on exactly where I want it. Just like that. Okay, cool. Boom. All right, there we go, guys. Fucking Blastoise. What do you think? Shoulder-mounted guns? Hell yeah. Let's get that head on there, see what he's gonna look like. I want a little bit misaligned because I want him kind of lurking. And then we'll be using for the head this guy from my Helldrake, for the plan anyways. Let's see how it looks. Thanks everyone for joining. Thanks for chatting. EJ Comics. Yeah, I mean, I think Morty's good. Morty has play, but like again, he's lost a lot since he lost Warp Time, right? Him and Magnus together were like solid, but now that Magnus and him can't Warp Time, that's the other thing that sucks with Magnus. It's not just that he lost his 3++. It's not just that he lost it's not just that he lost his 3++, but he also can't Warp Time anymore, which means like you can't play him, you can't like null deploy him like really far back to avoid getting shot off turn 1. He's T7 only, right? So yeah, he's just gonna die. Okay, let's see here. Get the gun. I'm putting the Hades autocannon Helldrake head on here because I'm gonna use I think I'm gonna use a Forgefiend head for my Helldrake. Or I want to track down a Lord of Change head somehow. And the reason I'm using this one and not the other one is because this is definitely a lot more, like if I want to run it as ectoplasm, this is definitely a lot more ectoplasm-y, I guess. Let's see here. How's that going there? Come on. So that. Ah. Oh man, this is gonna fucking look badass. Like that. I might have to cut off a few of the spikes though. Let's see. Do I cut off a few of these backspins? I think I cut 2 of them off, so let me just cut those off really quick. So let me fit the head. So I want it a bit straighter. Thousand Suns fucking Forgefiend, boys and girls. What do you think? And then this will sit on the base like that. I kind of want it though. I guess it's kind of stared down, but that's okay. I don't really like the gun in the mouth though. It's a little bit ridiculous. Like, look how big it is. You know? What do we like the gun in the mouth? I might just cut it out and just like sculpt in like a hole there. Or something else. Yeah, I don't like it. So let me just think really quick. I'm gonna rip it off really quick. So I'm gonna go for this. I'm gonna convert probably something else. I'm gonna keep this bit though. So I'm trying to cut it off. Start cutting my finger off. Okay, fuck it. We're going in, boys and girls. Ah! I think what I'll do is I'll just like drill out the hole there with like let me see here. One sec. You think it's a bit much? What do you think is a bit much? The gun? So let's see how big his hole is. Yes, I'm gonna fucking use a power drill. Okay. Dr. Chaos, guys. Okay, let me just drill a pilot hole really quick. Ow, my hand's glued to it. There we go. Ow. So he's got like a little like flame hole for his mouth. Flame hole? Is that even a word? Okay, let's put this back on. I think I like it a little bit twisted like this. So he's kind of looking at something. It's not straight on. Or do I do straight on? What do you guys think? Do I do straight on or kind of twisted? But I do think these need to go because it looks weird to have just two of them. So I think I go like that. Okay, so let me just clean that up really quick. Plus less for me to paint, you know? Those spikes break off anyway, so who cares? Grab my green stuff. This is where the green stuff comes in, guys. Take a little blob, pop it in there. Chunk some glue in there. Whoa. My fingers are fucking glued together at this point. Let's see. There we go. That's better. Cool. Boom. 1,000 Suns Helldrake, guys. Fucking shoulder-mounted cannons. What do you think? And then he'll sit like this on the base. Oh. A little forward, more forward, I think. Just like that. There we go. That's perfect. I think it looks pretty good. So I don't like that though. The gun's kind of saggy. So how do I fix that? I just gotta move it back. Like that. Right? Throw on the tendrils, throw on the chimney stacks, and we're basically shit. Alright guys, that is my converted Helldrake. Now, if you're gonna do this for the ectoplasms, just do the same thing, magnetize, right? And then I'm gonna keep these separate for painting. I'm gonna keep the tendrils separate for painting because I'm probably gonna spray them similar. But I'm gonna assemble the guns fully. Guns will be obviously separate painted for as well. Everything else, I think I actually, oh, I need these little bits for the back pieces there, but otherwise don't really need anything. So I'm gonna call it there. It's been a lovely almost 3 hours with you guys. So thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to get a fucking cheap drill like this. I think this was like 30 bucks on Amazon with a set of bits. Super helpful for this kind of project, for like weird kind of conversion ideas. And like I literally have charged it once in like a year because I barely ever use it. I literally use it for Warhammer. But it's kind of a cool investment. I mean, 30 bucks for a little cheap drill. Helps you do stuff like that. I'm gonna basically call it, go check my parking, and then build some Scarab Marines, which are gonna be really boring. So not really exciting to do that on stream. But with that said, let's yeah, have a great night, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow, all that stuff. And I will be back tomorrow with potentially some gaming and or best overall show. I'm not sure which. Maybe both, but don't get your hopes up on either, because David Koska is traveling across America right now, back home. He's moving back home, so I don't know if he's gonna be available to do the show. So in which case, no stream tomorrow. And if I don't see you tomorrow, I will see you guys on Monday. Regular scheduled programming. I will post a stream schedule this Friday for next week as well. Make sure to check it out on the channel. Much love, guys. Have a good night.